Welcome back into the senior spotlights for our spring graduates. Today I'm joined by our now current GM of WCTV, Rebekah Vaughan. Rebekah, let's just start off. How did you get to Waynesburg?
Well, it's kind of a short and funny story. So I only toured 2 schools in my college search, here and Akron University. I toured Akron as a potential electrical engineering major. And when I got to that campus, first of all, I was overwhelmed by the size of it. It was huge. You would get there and they told us that the campus alone was so big that it had its own zip code. So it wasn't the area around the campus, it was the campus itself. And I just immediately knew, too big. I couldn't find my place there the way I wanted to. And then with all of the electrical engineering stuff, they were using words that were way out of my vocabulary. I'm like, my high school didn't prepare me for this situation. I knew that wasn't the place for me. I was considering being an English major after that because writing came easily to me. So my best friend at the time had actually said, oh, well, Waynesburg University has a wonderful English department. So I came here and toured as a potential English major. I was in the English tour group, and we actually came up to visit the 4th floor of Buell, where we have the communications department. And I was just not vibing with the people in the English tour group. So I spun around, and there was another tour group going the opposite direction towards our Yellow Jacket office. And I walked away from the English group, joined up with the communications group, and it was kind of just a happy ending because I fell in love with the Yellow Jacket office on that tour, learned that my love for writing could be done in another way with journalism. And so I stuck my foot in the door and now we're here.
So what was the reason, or like why was electrical engineering even in the thought process? Because what you just told me, it seems like English and writing was really like what you love to do. So where did this whole thinking about electrical engineering come from?
Yeah, so in high school, everyone was going towards the sciences, and I kind of just found myself going with the flow and what everybody else was doing. It felt like there was the potential for more job security, higher pay in some areas, and I had done soldering, like little soldering kits with my dad, like over Christmas breaks and stuff, where you would solder all the LED light bulbs onto a breadboard situation, and then you'd stick a battery on it and it would all light up. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. But my high school AP physics class, we had an electrical unit, and we wired an entire house to, have lights and a moving fan, and I really liked that, and I thought that my time could be best spent in a beneficial way, creating things for other people. So I've always been a creative. I've always wanted to make an impact somewhere, and whether that be, lighting up somebody's house, or now making news stories, that's always kind of been what I saw myself doing, is benefiting other people.
You talked about always wanting to create things. Obviously, coming here in the 4th floor, we do a lot of that. You're involved with WCTV, the Yellow Jacket, taking on some big roles this year as the general manager and also the region editor of the newspaper. How did you kind of find your fit within WCTV and the Yellow Jacket once you got here? Was it someone needed to push you forward and get you involved, or did you kind of just take the steps yourself?
It was funny because my freshman year, when we did all of the services, before you actually start classes, up in the chapel, Holly Hendershot, I think her last name, she's Holly Boyce now, she immediately came up to me. She's like, oh, you're a journalism major, because I started as a journalism major. She's like, you're coming to the Yellow Jacket. I was, fine, I'm coming to the Yellow Jacket. So I started writing for the Yellow Jacket the first semester of my freshman year. I was immediately involved in it. And by second semester, they had brought me on as an editorial assistant. I was one of the only freshmen that got offered that position at that time. So from there, I started writing more and more, and working really hard to make that impact. So the upperclassmen knew that I was going to try really hard to do what I was doing. But I think my advisor, Melinda, she saw me as a reporter. She knew that that's where she wanted me. So by the time I was a sophomore, I was already taking classes, like I took broadcast journalism as a freshman, which a lot of our seniors are in now. I took advanced field reporting as a sophomore, which again, the students normally take that when they're a senior. So I got those experiences in when I was really new in school. And from there, I was able to develop my style in reporting for whether it be the newspaper or television, and figure out how I was able to create those stories in that way. Because I always say, and I have told a lot of people this, one of my aunts is an author. Growing up, she instilled in me that we tell stories. That's what a Vaughan does. So it made sense that I was going into a writing sort of field. Now, when I was 8, did I know that I would be writing news stories on what's happening in everyday life? No, but I'm extremely grateful that I get to do what I get to do, because I get to meet so many incredible people.
You talked about the incredible people, and you mentioned Melinda Roeder, your advisor and also one of the professors here at Waynesburg. But how else have the other professors here at Waynesburg kind of helped you along your journey, like Professor Schiffbauer, even Chairperson Richard Krause? How have they helped you along your journey as well?
They have helped me and pushed me so hard to be, who I am now. After my sophomore year, my mother passed away. That was a very difficult part of my life. It was one of those things where I wasn't sure if I was going to come back to school. That's the semester after it happened, because I was just mentally not here. But the professors were incredible, and they were able to, give me the time I needed. They knew what was going on in my life. They were very, they welcomed me back into the department with open arms after everything happened, and they understood that it was going to take me some time to get back to where I was before everything happened. So Professor Krause, he's been incredible and very supportive of the situation that I was in and how it has changed me as a person. Professor Schiffbauer has pushed me in journalism incredibly hard. She knows that I love to write, and she knows that that's what I'm going to be doing. So she's pushed me to be, above where other people might be writing, because she knows that I can do it. Doug Wilson, he has been absolutely fantastic as a professor, but also as a support system. He's one of those professors where if something is wrong, he recognizes it, and that you can sit down with him and talk it out so it's not affecting you academically. So everybody up here has been an absolute joy to get to know, and I consider them, I'm very close with a lot of them, and I would love to stay in contact with them after I graduate.
So with graduation coming up very soon, kind of reflecting on your time here, not only WCTV, but also any other things you've been involved in, do you have any one specific moment or one specific thing you've done during your time here that kind of will stick with you way down the road, way past 10 years from now?
I have had a few underclassmen tell me that I have taken them under my wing and kind of pushed them in a better direction. I always say that I tend to adopt some freshmen and show them that they can be up here and people want them around. Just because you're a freshman doesn't mean you need to go stay in your dorm room all day because you don't think you're going to befriend the upperclassmen. That's not how it should be here. So even my sophomore year, I was, telling freshmen, I'm like, all right, come on, you're coming to the Yellow Jacket with us and you're going to write stories. And I try to do that a lot. And I think it makes the freshmen more comfortable up here. And so, while it might not be a one show moment that will stick with me for the rest of my life, that's I've tried to create a more welcoming community up here for the underclassmen to feel comfortable and to get their hands dirty with the equipment. And so when they're our age, they're really good at what they're doing.
And mentoring them, you were mentored this past summer with your internship. Touch a little bit about kind of what you got to do and what was ultimately the decision on why you chose that internship.
My internship is another one of those funny stories where everything just fell into place perfectly. I was looking around the country to see, where could I get in? Because I was nervous. I don't have news connections like some families do. I'm going into this field without those connections. So I was very scared that I wasn't going to get something, but WTOV in Steubenville, Ohio, we've got a lot of wonderful alumni that work there, And I was able to use those connections to get my foot in the door as an intern up there. So for the month of May, I interned. I was a news intern with WTOV. And after my internship's hours were up, they actually offered me a full-time temporary reporter position. So I got paid for the rest of the summer while reporting on TV with WTOV. And it gave me incredible experience, which I believe pushed me even further ahead. Where I'm at now, it's all because of that internship. One of the videographers I worked with there, Craig, and I credit everything that I learned there to him, because he had 19 years working at a television station in Nashville, Tennessee, which is a bigger market station. And he came back to WTOV to move back closer to family. And he brought with him so much knowledge. And so I would write a script and I'd be like, Craig, can you read my script? And he would read it and tell me what to change to make it sound better. And we would sit there and what word should we use here? How should I decipher this, court case that we just got in? And I mean, being able to go through the summer and bring that knowledge back here for that fall semester and, see what I could do with it here, incredibly beneficial. And they asked me to come back for the month of December. So I went back for winter break too and got paid for that month as well.
So with that internship, obviously, you were able to add a lot to your demo reel. You got that experience doing not only stuff behind the scenes for your own sake, but also helping out the station, setting yourself up for some big opportunities coming ahead. So Rebekah Vaughan, what is up next for you after graduation?
I will be moving to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, which is 10 and a half hours away from here. Midwest, I have never moved away from this area before, so that's very exciting. But I will be a weekend morning anchor / MMJ for KCRG out of Cedar Rapids. So I'm very excited for that. I'm very grateful that I got to go out and visit them within the last few weeks. And it was an incredible experience to be out there, and I'm very excited to start my job with them.
So what was ultimately the decision to get you to go there? I know we spoke briefly about the other opportunities you had, but what was kind of the nail in the coffin saying, this is where I want to go?
Yeah, I had a few other offers from other stations, discussions with some in Tennessee and Ohio, and just the people at KCRG really, it really hit home how much they care about their employees. When I sat down with that interview with the news director, I was like, this is a person. I had been through other job interviews where I was just getting drilled with questions, and it didn't feel like they really wanted to get to know who I was. They cared about my work experience, which is very important, but you also need to know who I am as a person and my personal experiences that have made me who I am. And the people at KCRG really cared about that. They wanted to know, oh, what got you into painting? Oh, you like to skateboard. That's great. But here's all the things that we have around here. And when I got to go and visit, and they were, willing to bring me out there, they flew me out there and had me in a hotel for 2 days, and they really wanted to show me what they had to offer. And that was really special, because it didn't feel like I was just walking into another job site. It felt like I was walking into somewhere where all of the employees were very comfortable and happy.
Well, Rebekah, it's been a pleasure sitting up here with you for your senior spotlight. I look forward to seeing all the things you do over in Iowa, but that's going to do it for this episode of Senior Spotlights for our spring 2023 graduates. Stay tuned on the WCTV YouTube channel for the rest of our graduating class.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.